Hey, Dustin Tibbetts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers. How you doing today? Hope you're having a good Thursday. Hey, we're financial advisors here at Jazz Wealth, and really the moral of today's class is like, who's got their finger on the pulse of your investments, right? Remember yesterday we were talking in the closing beat about the market bounce going, hey, this seems a little weird, right? Doesn't seem like it's really that big of a deal on the way back up. Seemed like we were floating on air, hinted that maybe it was a trap. And that was because I spent really the day answering customers going, hey, they wanted to invest in the market, and me going, don't do it. Stop. Hold on a second. Don't chase this. Let's let this settle down. This one-day bounce is likely just going to be something like that. Even our biggest customer, you know who you are, I had to try to talk him out of being more aggressive yesterday because it just didn't make any sense. The way the markets were bouncing just didn't make sense. So if you are working with a financial advisor and they're not keeping you updated on this type of stuff, then I hope you'll check us out at Jazz Wealth. It's all we do, right? It's what we focus on every day. So that's why we bring you some of this interesting stuff. For the rest of you that don't want to work with an advisor, that's cool. I'm still here to teach, still here to help. We've got quite a bit of rain coming through here at the moment, so hopefully it's not too bad for you. We got all the fancy sound work going there. But I hope you'll check us out, right? Because it's really, really important to us that we make the most out of what you have. We only benefit if you grow, whereas other advisors sell you a plan or insurance or something, and that's just a nightmare. Why sign up for something like that? Somebody that's making changes as things happen or stopping you from doing something that could be costly in the future. So I hope you'll check that out, and I do appreciate you watching today as well as yesterday as well. Let's talk about the stock market here today. If you're looking, this is the fifth attempt at the virus stimulus bill that they've tried to pass, the second one, and we just totally failed, right? 5 times, they just couldn't get it done today. Market's a little bit lower already ahead of that. That certainly didn't help throughout the day. If we go over to the charts for today, let's take a look at the old NASDAQ. We'll start there. Almost a complete reversal from yesterday. Now this from here means we start chopping around. It means people that bought yesterday are like, uh-oh, what, did I buy the wrong time? People that are taking their profits as of today that missed it before this whole drop here, those people taking their profits, but they're not sure if they should be taking their profits yet. So what that spells is a market that's likely to wiggle around inside of a pretty large range. So expect a lot of volatility there. But the NASDAQ today, as far as what pushed us lower, was big tech. Yeah, what else is new, right? You got Apple there, hinting a little bit lower there on the day, about 3.25% down, reversing all of yesterday's gains. Just a real weak day. That was the biggest drag overall on the NASDAQ. Microsoft, the second biggest drag, and Amazon, the third. Those go in order: Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon in terms of what weighed down the NASDAQ here today. So hopefully the rain is not too bad. We've got the whole suppression thing. I think it sounds great. Anytime I talk, I think it sounds good. Anyways, what's interesting in the NASDAQ, right? This is what I want you to start doing if you're an active trader out there. Now, we're long-term investors here at Jazz, of course, but if you're a long-term investor, I want you to start looking at, all right, I get it, those stocks are knocking me down right now. What's interesting out there? So I took some time today just to go through some things that may be looking interesting to you. You've got Algen hitting new 52-week highs. Yesterday we talked about this and I sort of joked that people want to go invest in DocuSign, but they've never heard of Algen. They won't even look at it. These guys overall, they have revenue of $1.7 billion on $2.1 billion in sales. They are highly profitable, talking about a 78% profit margin overall, but nobody likes them because it's not interesting. It's not Apple. It's not something people readily understand. Today, that was an interesting place there. Great relative strength, great stock moving a little bit higher there. Don't let these 3 names make you feel like the market is in some kind of trouble or that somehow we're just, going to fall apart here. That certainly could be the case if those continue lower, but there's still opportunity out there. You just got to look a little bit harder for it, and don't be afraid to look at stocks you've never heard of before. They're in the NASDAQ, they're in the S&P. These are popular names with a lot of liquidity. Anyways, moving on over to the S&P 500 today, same thing, right? It's kind of boring to talk about the same names all the time. Apple was your biggest drag. Amazon, there we go. Second biggest drag. I'm sorry, Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. Those two went perfectly together there. Meanwhile, retail did really well, right? So if you look at some of the retail names, not saying these are great stocks to invest in, but today it wasn't all bad. Retail, Tapestry moving higher on the day. Ralph Lauren moving higher on the day. Almost a 3% gain there. PVH, the Tommy Hilfiger, things like that. That's breaking above the 200-day moving average. So there was money moving around today. You just had to go and try to find it, right? You had to look for things that were standing out there. Oh boy. We're getting a little bit pummeled here today. All right, also communication stocks, they did good today. Viacom looking good, continuing to be like a little bit of a mini beast here, trending very nicely, all looking really good there. Comcast, nice and strong until the very end of the day. It started selling off there at the end of the day, so maybe that one gives back a little bit. Pharma stocks, healthcare, gaming, some of the airlines, they all look pretty good in the S&P here today. So something to note for sure, that not everything was a disaster. The big stocks were a disaster. In the Dow, it's a little bit different of a story. In the Dow, you had McDonald's. That was the only one that came to work today. McDonald's added almost 1% on the day. You had United Healthcare a little bit weak, breaking back below the 50-day. Healthcare looking weak in general, not too good there. You had Home Depot pulling back a little bit. There were a lot of names in the mix. Salesforce, we got to keep remembering to look at Salesforce, right? They're weak on the day overall. Salesforce pulling back a little bit. All of that weighing down the Dow just a little bit. So something to keep in mind there overall. Also, our FinTips videos, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, we got large cap funds to invest in. Got a couple good comments on ways we can expand on that. I'll be doing that for sure. Today we had class come out, will the stock market finish higher in September? Kind of an interesting one there, giving you the stats versus just saying, I believe this will happen. So we went over that. Pretty cool there. Wine and Wealth tonight is going to be on trading plans. Got to focus on trading plans. I beat this to death yesterday. So we're going to do, over the next couple weeks, like this week we've got trading plans tonight at 8 o'clock. Next week we're going back to Nest Egg. So we're going to focus on Nest Egg in terms of doing a lot of planning there. It started right as we started here. It's coming down, man. It's really coming down. We're going to learn how to set up a trading plan, and then we're going to learn how to get your dough straight. That's our focus on our Wine and Wealth classes for the next couple weeks. If you're not one of our customers, well, I hope you'll check us out. Every Thursday I do a class for customers. It's usually a lot more quieter than this. Also, if you check out our research site, if you can't be a customer, lots of great posts in there as well. Okay, let's go over to the sector breakdown and take a look and see what we've got here. He said a little bit of rain. He said just a little bit of rain and we'd be fine. Sector breakdown, all the sectors finished lower on the day. Actually, when the markets tried to have a small bounce throughout the day, erased, right? It just all got so erased there. It was every little attempt at a bounce just got erased by the markets in a sector-wise. Energy is going to be your worst performer for the day, down 3.6%. Energy was the worst performance-wise in terms of percentages, but tech stocks actually. So I can't hear myself talk at the moment. That's how bad it is. I can't even hear myself talking. That's Florida for you. Tech was right there with it. Tech very weak on the day overall. Not a good looking reversal if you're looking over here. Just a horrible reversal for the tech stocks in general. Now, what stood out a little bit? Our semiconductors. Semiconductors under the 200-day moving average, but CLAC looking good there, considering what happened today. CLAC was okay. Lam Research looking good there, considering what happened overall. AMAT, something to take a look at too. Very extended here. And I've got a stats play for you. How long has it been since we've had a stats play, right? We haven't done that in quite a while. Let's go over to that. I'll take a look. Lam Research is your stats play for the day as the rain seems to calm down a little bit. That's good news. 1% lower on the day, very extended. When a stock like this gets very extended, we like to see how often does it bounce and how much does it bounce. So if you're looking at Lam Research, when it gets this extended, the average bounce is 2.54%. So just like I always do, I'll come up here. It's not much, right? It's just a little bit. So I want to see where we draw this line. It's going to be right about there. So we're basically saying Lam Research is set up to reverse all of today and the day before. So that's what we're looking for there. It's positive 55% of the time if you're taking a look. Very cool there in terms of a stats play. Wanted to cover that. Anyways, going all over to the financials. This doesn't look so good. Financials don't look so good here. Not the ideal pattern. Today, you had JP Morgan setting up, everything looking okay, at least being lower, right? Following the sector, Bank of America pulling a little bit lower. Believe it or not, Wells Fargo. Oh, yikes. Believe it or not, Wells Fargo fought the trend a little bit there. 0.5% higher today. That's kind of interesting. It's been one of the weaker ones overall, but looking pretty good there. What I want to point out is your regional banks. They broke the trending pattern there. They broke the uptrend. That's very important. You can actually move this a little bit. We'll go over here and stretch this out. There's the break of your uptrend. You don't like to see that if you've got regional stocks in a mix there. We'll cover crude oil here real quick. You got crude oil down. Inventory is up by 2 million barrels. That drags on the price of oil overall, if you can still hear me. And XOP was lower on the day, OIH lower on the day, and all just kind of weak overall. These are big discounted areas. Energy, oil, all the worst performers for the year so far in terms of performance. Let's go over to the notable new highs. We make sure all this changes. 6 new highs today, 2 new lows overall. I got a couple interesting ones here. Sherwin-Williams stands out. It's a beast. Sherwin-Williams, 1.1% higher, looking good. McDonald's, I already mentioned it there, looking really good as well. The only stock in the Dow to actually do any work today. I got to point out Algen. These guys are profitable. It's a great company. It's not a sector that I really like, but Algen looking pretty good there. Walgreens Boots Alliance hits our 52-week lows list overall. Walgreens Boots Alliance, unfortunately, really falling apart. That's a tough one. You know, if you, like I said yesterday, if you're holding it, these are not good times for that stock. And Huntington also hitting new lows as well. Really rough there. But that's really it. 6 new highs, 2 new lows on the day. And let's take a shot at the watch list. Let's see what we can do here watch list wise. Here's what I got. You guys, I think the mic is working really well actually, because I don't hear any, I don't see any nasty comments there. It's good. So all the adjustments we made looking good. Let's start with the watch list. Here's a real interesting one for you. Semiconductors. We got a really interesting spot here for semiconductors because as semiconductors go, so go the markets. That's kind of the old saying there. What I did is I said, okay, they're looking really weak. So statistically, what are we looking at in terms of performance? So here's what we got. You got semiconductors trying to break through the 50-day. Let's pretend that there's some weakness ahead. Chances are you guys own some of the semiconductor stocks out there. So what I did, put up the performance over the next week. We broke down the average performance of the semiconductors, pretending that it's next week. So we took last year from September 13th to September 20th. We took the year before, the year before, the year before, and so on. We went back 15 years, and to show you, I put the data there on the screen there. And what I did is I ranked them by their median performance over the next week, so that if you have semiconductor stocks and things are looking rather weak right now, which ones tend to hang out and do okay? And if the ones do badly, how bad can it get? So what we have is each one of them listed here, at least the majors. We got Texas Instruments up at top there, looking good. We got Texas Instruments listed as the name. Here's the median performance ranked in order, so that's how this whole table is sorted. Here's the average performance, if you're interested in that. They're all gonna be in the tech sector. We put percentage of the time that these stocks are positive next week, right? Not for the rest of the year, not today or whatever. For next week, assuming things get weak. Texas Instruments ranks as your best performing semiconductor stock during that, and you can look through all the different years to see performance. We then look down at Skyworks, Broadcom, organize them all here so you can see. Qualcomm and Texas Instruments rank the best out of all of them. If you have Micron, AMD, Microchip, these stocks actually perform quite poorly, right? Even if the markets are weak, if they're strong, you can look at all the years here and see how the next week is not a great week for Micron, AMD, and Microchip. It's just not, it's just, if you see it fall next week, you know that, all right, that's kind of expected. That's something that was supposed to happen. This is how the stock performs. What I then did is took it a step further and said, let's take a look at the volatility. You know I'm big on my volatility, right? So I like my volatility. I colored in red the stocks here that are the most volatile. So we're looking at these stocks saying, okay, we get it, right? Last year, almost every stock was down in September of next week. So let's see which ones are the most volatile. Microchip, Maxim, and Xilinx. Thankfully, they're not names that most people like to trade. It's not something that people look at. But what you can see is if you own those stocks, and next week is a really volatile week, is that odd? Remember how often I said 2 days ago, well, that's odd, right? So if you know the stats and you see something happen that's in line with those stats, go over to those stocks there and you see, oh my God, that's the most volatile one. That's the most volatile one. That's the most, okay, cool. If they're volatile next week and lower, there's actually nothing wrong, right? It's not ideal. It's not what you're gonna like if you own them and you see them fall, but it means that there's nothing wrong. It's supposed to happen. For whatever reason, it technically happens in that week. So really cool. And what we did today, we tried to beef up our stream rate per a comment yesterday, so I hope that helps. You should be able to see this much more clearer I hope. Anyways, so now you know, Texas Instruments stands to do the best. Qualcomm tends to hold up a little bit there in terms of being positive more times than not. If they do fall, it's not that big of a deal. Small drop in a week, not too big of a deal. You can handle that. And that is our watch list for today. I know we went a little geeky this week for the watch list. I'll try to back it down next week. We'll do some different things. Maybe tomorrow we'll focus on stocks that perform well in these next coming weeks and things like that. But wanted to highlight that for you. And pretty cool. You know, it's just a different way to look at it. All right, let's go over to stocks in the news here, and then I'll take some of your questions. Stocks in the news. Okay, I want to show you my charts here, if we can play along with that. You're going to have a couple different names here. You got Aaron's Rent-A-Center, strong day today, 7% gain overall on the day. They raised their third quarter sales estimates and their forecast. They said things are going good. It's almost like the virus didn't happen. Those are their words and not mine. So Aaron's Rent-A-Center doing really well there. AAN is the ticker symbol if you want to look. Nope, that's not the symbol. Zscaler beat on earnings by 2 cents, just a small profit overall. Stronger revenue, they raised guidance. It did start higher, but it succumbed to the market throughout the day. It's also overbought. You know, you can kind of understand if this stock pulls back a little bit, not too big of a deal. Kansas City Southern said, hey, we're going to fight off that deal there with, which is really with, I think it's BlackRock. Kansas City Southern's going to try to fight back that deal. They don't want BlackRock to take them over. And so that stock was a little bit lower on the day, and also very volatile, by the way, if you're taking a look at that. GameStop, I don't know how they are still around, but GameStop reported a bigger loss than expected. They lost $1.40 versus $1.14, so not looking too good there. Revenues came in weaker than expected overall, and so a little bit of a pullback in GameStop. And Restoration Hardware, they killed it. They did great. You know, $4,000 for a couch. I don't get it, right? Stock was at new highs today, up 64 bucks or 20%. Really, really good there. If you look at their performance, they beat by $1.56. They were expected to make $3.34. They made $4.90. Revenues came in better than expected. Sales came in much better than expected. Wow, I mean, really, really cool there. Okay, a couple other things. Speaking of Kansas City Southern, you got a dividend coming out of 40 cents there. You got United Healthcare coming out with a dividend of $1.25, I believe, and then Devon Energy, which is a much needed 11 cents there. You also have 3 stocks getting added to the S&P. You've got Etsy. This will take place next week, I believe, end of next week. You got Etsy coming into the S&P. Oh, sorry. Teradyne also, which has been a little bit lower lately. Oh, boy. Hold on, I think we're still there. We're still streaming. How about that? Come on now. Only you got ripped off. Check it out, man. There's gonna be a hurricane. Power just went out for a second. It seems like we're still doing good. All right, man. Maybe we should like check on the neighbors. And Catalent also coming in the mix there. All right. Let's see if I can take a few questions, and then I'll get ready for our class tonight for you there. Oh man, I love it. Thanks for the compliments there. I love it. Enjoy it. Yep, that's cool, man. Peloton, yeah, they killed it. The GameStop, I don't know how. I have no idea how GameStop does with it, but they, you know, it's what it is, I guess. But Chris likes more geekiness there. Yeah, I like doing the geeky stuff, but I don't like to scare away people there too much. I love it. I love it. Oh, you headed back to the other channel. All right, see you then. Overstock has reversed the downtrend. Yeah, that's been a popular one, right? Overstock pulling back. I know a lot of people are looking for that bounce, and you see you got it. There you go. You got that little bounce. We drew a range in here, right? So we drew that box the other day to say somewhere in that range would be okay to pick up the stock. That's why that's sitting there. And so far, so good, right? You got a little bit of a bounce today. You have people that said, that's good enough. I want to buy that stock. So far, that range was just a little bit off, but in form of, you know, tooting my own horn there, it looked pretty good. I like the reversal today. You give it a bit of a pass because the market was lower today. So I would say, even though it fell today, give it just a tiny bit of a pass there. Yep. You saw that tomorrow is historically a big update. Besides 2009, 2012, any thoughts on this and if it'll continue tomorrow? You're right. Statistically, it is. Also, this week ranks as one of the best performing weeks historically. But and the reason for that is because we tend to see a rally early in September and then it fades away. We're just fading away a little earlier this year. So if you go check out today's FinTips video, I actually show that average there. That's why this week in general is historically one that stands out as being really good, just because of the way it performs. You have certainly a recipe, a market that could bounce tomorrow, but today does not go any way to try to help that out there. Yeah. Yep. Wine and Wealth Generator Edition. Actually, it was supposed to be a small storm, so should just be hitting us hard. In Florida, when it rains for like 20 minutes and then we're done. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Confidence in the Geeky study that September will end down a little bit. We're down more than that, technically, at the moment. It's not really a confidence thing. I really just look at the data and say, well, that's what it is. So if that does happen, I'm not going to be shocked or anything like that. But boy, today really made you feel like that bounce yesterday, people saw the stats, right? Like people understand the market's not really supposed to bounce there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hey, if you don't mind, I'm going to wrap it up a little bit early today. I'm glad the mic worked. I'm glad you guys got to hear this. If you've been a viewer for a while, when the rain would come, usually you wouldn't be able to hear me talk at all. So it sounds like we've solved that and we can fight through some of the last remaining summer storms there. If I missed your question, let's do it tomorrow. It shouldn't be raining tomorrow. I'll stick around a little bit longer for you on a Friday, and happy to help you. I just thank you for watching, and if you like us, if we're helping you, showing you that what we do is kind of unique and stuff, hope you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com and maybe consider giving us a shot. Thank you so much. If you're one of our customers, I'll see you a little bit later. Grab a drink, come hang out with me, and talk to you then.